Welcome, listeners. You're listening to Deeds in the Desert, the place where real estate investors tune in for the latest news and available investments at Ignite Funding. If you're on the hunt for a low-effort, passive income stream, then turn up that volume and pull out the hammock as we get ready to feed you your weekly dose of real estate investing insights.
Awesome. Thanks for stopping by, Brock. I appreciate it. We got you on the podcast here for our listeners out in the Webiverse or whatever it's called, just listening in to the mastermind behind Edward Homes and all the different LLCs we got going on with you. Appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you.
Would you mind just getting us started off, explaining who you are, where you came from, how you got in this business?
Well, I'm a general contractor. Been licensed out here since 1998. We're also licensed in Arizona, North Dakota, and Indiana. I become a general contractor, family hand down. I guess you'd say my dad was a general contractor for Simon DeBartolo.
Okay.
I grew up in Ohio, just moved out here in 1997 and started building and got licensed and went from building 10 homes a year to doing 100 million a year.
Right.
So we've just kind of expanded our business. We're kind of doing everything. You know, we do commercial. We're kind of a hybrid commercial, residential, multifamily. We've done it all. We have different people in our offices that handle certain things, and we've just grown from a ma and pa to more of a corporate company that's doing, a lot of business.
Awesome. That's great to hear. So you got started back in the late 90s. In doing that, what did you first get involved with? Was it more on the residential or commercial side of things?
It was multifamily, believe it or not. We were building fourplexes in Pahrump, Nevada. And I bought some land for cheap and built them. And we actually built them from ground up. Me and my dad had a couple laborers and we did everything. And we would have them sold before we were built. And we just started building a lot of them. I realized I had to get a GC license. After a couple of them, it's different. Back in Indiana, you get one over the counter. So went and got my license and it just took off. Like I said, we were building 4, then 10, then 12, and it just started compounding. Next thing you know, we're doing 4 homes a week in the ground. So back in the 05, 06 area.
Gotcha. So 04, 05, 06, kind of a good old days before the storm hit, so to speak.
Yep.
What were you doing during the stormy times?
Well, the stormy kind of converted over to commercial. We started doing Denny's restaurants. We were doing some Denny's, some Capriotti's, some Burger Kings. The fast food kept going, right? It was the cheap way to go, and they grew. And we just kind of realized, we got to flow with the market, learn other things, because homes weren't going on for a while. And we did them all over the state of Nevada. We were up in Elko doing them. We were in Reno doing them. We were here, and we just kind of hunkered down. And I was out running jobs at that point in time too. So that's what we did.
So during the Great Recession, you kind of moved away from the residential, got more into the commercial, still here in Nevada. And since that time, have you gotten back into the residential a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right now we have 1,200 multifamily units to build, and I think about 600 townhomes.
Wow.
That we're building and going forward over the next 2-3 years. And most of them are under contract with other buyers already. So.
Gotcha.
Yep.
In the markets that you talked about and places that you're operating, one of the big kind of new developments is build for rent. Mm-hmm. These guys that go out, build communities, but instead of selling them off to individual homeowners, they hold on to them and monetize them through almost like an apartment style program. Have you seen that explode and are you involved in that at all?
Yes, we have a 60-unit townhome project on Peaceway and Hualapai that's sold to a build for rent.
Is that here in Las Vegas?
Yep, we're just finishing our last 2 buildings now. It'll be completely turned over to them in January. They're called Haven. They're a pretty big group. We have a deal with them, one deal with them in Reno, and another deal with them here in Vegas. And then we have that they're just converting them all townhomes into build for rent. They're buying the whole project as is. And we have a couple other projects. We're partnering with a big institution on one in Reno. It's 210 units. And then we have one in 220 units down in Phoenix. So it's all built for rent. I mean, we have an apartment project on Jones in 215. We sold day one. They're using it as apartments. We got a number we were happy with and we sold it to get rid of the risk because we're not huge operators.
Gotcha. And one of the things you just said was partnering. When you say partnering, are these deals in which you are just the GC for, or are they deals that you are the borrower, the guarantor, and actually owner of?
Most of them we were the borrower. We were the whole. We were the developer, borrower, and guarantor and builder. They bought them at the C of O.
Okay.
But we had upfront contracts, pre-sold contracts. Some we are partnering with just some institutional guys, because they're bigger deals. You're talking they're $80, $90 million deals, and then they want to they want to retail them off and sell them. We have an apartment project. We are actually going to hire a management company and build and hold. So most of them we were the guarantor, we were the borrower, we were the
You're
developer.
the owner all the way
GC,
through.
the
You
GC.
weren't just GCing it.
Yep. And on the ones that we partner with them, we're still the developer. We sold them the land. We're still a developer. They're putting up the finance, they're doing the financials, but we're the developer and general contractor all the way through.
Okay, perfect. What markets are you currently in, and which ones do you foresee yourself getting involved with in the next couple of years?
We're big into the Vegas market, of course. Pretty big into the Reno market. And in the Reno market, I think we've got roughly about 150 million on the books. And in Phoenix, we've got a lot going on in Phoenix. We've got a school we're doing down in Phoenix right now. We've got a hospital that will be coming up in Gilbert. And then we've got a 33-acre piece in Avondale and Broadway. And then we've got a 56 unit in Goodyear, townhome built for rent project.
Okay, so pretty big in Arizona.
Yep.
What's with the Arizona market that you like?
Job base, big job base in Phoenix market. There's just so much growth going on with the semiconductor plants and stuff like that that's going on.
Gotcha. And you and I have known each other for, 10 years or so. We've been doing business for close to that amount of time. Why did you originally take out a loan from Ignite Funding? Why didn't you go to a bank or a different lending institution?
I would say less brain damage, right? You deal with the banks and they want you to sign your kid's life away. It's relationship. It's not always about the ease of things. You could go to a bank and pay 8%. You can go to a hard money lender, pay 11%, and it's all about what your preference is, what you want to do, what you want to sign, what you want to guarantee. But I'd say dealing with you guys has been, like I said, a lot less brain damage and in a relationship between you and I.
So do you foresee yourself doing more of these type of loans with us in the near future?
Absolutely.
Perfect. How about those medical care facilities? You said you're doing 2 a year. Do you foresee throwing some of those our way?
All of them.
All of them. Awesome. Well, that seems like a great product, great spot to be. We love it for the exact same reasons you do, right? The dementia, the elderly care, it's not going away with recession. It doesn't change the need for that type of facility. It's only going to get stronger as our aging demographic would imply. And so there's definitely a demand for it. So we appreciate you fulfilling that and you utilizing us to take care of some of those financing needs. In doing so, in utilizing us, do you usually, once you have the project built, how do you usually get us paid off? Is it typically through a sale or refinance? What type of structure to get our investors paid off? Well,
we did the Phoenix one with you. We refied you guys out. We did the Bullhead one with you, and we refied you out there. And then the Yuma one we sold. The second Yuma one will be sold right to Yuma. The future ones, if we can market and sell them for the numbers we're selling them at, we'll sell them. Why take the chips off the table? But we're managing 2 right now, and on one, the debt structure is about $10 million and it's positive $180,000 a month. The other one, the debt structure is 15 and it's running about 350,000 positive a month.
Wow.
So, it's there. It's there to maintain your debt service coverage ratios are through the roof. It's not hard our financials to get the refis and stuff. It was just about understanding Medicaid, Medicare, and we have the right people in the right place now. You can't just go build these without we have an operator that works with us the whole way through. Tells to make sure we're following the codes, the joint commission stuff, because they're just a whole different animal. They're hard to build. It's not like building a townhome or apartment project. Everything's anti-ligature. You're dealing with people that are, having behavioral issues, right? They got to make sure they can't fall and get hurt. And everything's like drywall's different rated drywall, different rated electrical, all kinds of different stuff. They're probably the hardest thing we have that we can build is these.
Gotcha. And because of that, it probably takes a special developer, special operator to be able to get it all the way through fruition, dealing with the city, the county, and ultimately the state health department to ensure that what is being built meets code, because that code is much, much different, right, than your typical building code.
Oh, yeah. And then you need the federal government on top of it, right? Because that's the joint commission. You're dealing with them and the FGI rules are just a whole different animal.
How many different builders out there are there that are building these type of facilities?
Well, we went to a big meeting last week in Scottsdale, and there's not a lot of them out there. That's why a lot of people are saying, we'll give you these numbers. We don't want to take the risk. We want to just have a C of O building and we go operate it. And then same time, we don't want to operate it as much, right?
Well, one of the things you just said was risk, and the risk associated with these is much higher in the aspect of dealing with all these different governmental agencies. So it definitely takes somebody who's been through it, knows exactly what they're going to ask for to mitigate that risk. When you did your first one, I'm sure that risk level was not necessarily through the roof, but a bunch of unintended issues probably popped up. What were some of those unintended issues that came up that you never would have guessed would become an issue, but what these behavioral health centers did?
I would say the biggest issues is, having your management staff in sync with the billing and the doctors, making sure they're turning their bills in on time, because you actually get paid when people get discharged, not while they're there. So you can't even bill till that point. So you have to have 30 charts before you can even start billing.
Wow.
So you treat 30 patients basically for free. So a lot of things like that. I mean, it's the state of Arizona is actually easing the restrictions. It's gotten less than it was when we started. Nevada is very hard. I would say it's just, you go from a developer building apartment buildings and stuff. Now you're sliding into medical, and it's a whole different billing structure compared to just getting checks from tenants or this and that. You're dealing with the federal government, and they want to make sure every T is crossed. It's how it works. But the pay is, you're getting a check from a large payer every month. That's pretty positive.
Absolutely. Well, so the risks do, meet the rewards associated with it. If we've got some listeners out there on the younger side of things, listening to what you're saying, you make it sound extremely easy to get involved with. What advice would you give them on somebody that's entering the business, not necessarily behavioral health, GCing, but just real estate in general?
Well, I mean, it's not as easy as everyone thinks, right? Yeah, we reap the rewards, but we also pay the price. We're working 10, 11-hour days, sometimes Saturdays, sometimes Sundays. We're getting the calls at 10 o'clock at night. And then the stress, it's an up and down market, and trying to flow with the markets. It's not easy when times are down. That's when you learn to succeed. When times are good, everyone's making money in those times, right? But I think a lot of people will slide into real estate thinking it's easy, and it's not.
Sure.
Not by any means. It's all relationship based. You got to maintain those relationships. Your word is your bond. You cross that up, and it's Vegas, a small town. You could lose that quick, fast, in a hurry.
Absolutely. So if you hadn't gone into real estate, what do you think you would have been doing right now?
I was actually going to college for nursing.
Really?
Yeah.
So you would have been in this type of field regardless?
Probably, yeah. I just love building. I mean, it's not all about money and stuff like that. It's about saying, hey, I built that. I succeeded at that, and I solved those problems.
Perfect. Well, we appreciate you as a borrower. We appreciate you coming in today and dropping a little knowledge on all of our listeners out there. So I appreciate it, man.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us this week on Deeds in the Desert, where short-term investments meet long-term investors. We hope you enjoyed the content so much that you share it with all your friends. Who doesn't like learning about passive fixed income, right? Still hungry for more education? Visit our website at ignitefunding.com. Or if you're ready to take the leap and start investing, give us a call at 702-761-0000 and schedule a free investor consultation.